Rain bucket.
Wear a helmet whenever possible. Through my brain. That is kind of funny.
So Ken, what does the term brain bucket mean to you?
Brain bucket is a helmet. Helmet safety. We're talking helmet safety today. There's a segment in episode 6 of the Gymkhana Files about the helmets that I was wearing. If you have a $10 head, then buy a $10 helmet. That's an old advertising tagline my dad told me when I was a kid. Since then, I've always liked to call my helmets brain buckets. For the 5 unique helmets in Gymkhana 10, I asked Despre Custom to paint each helmet in this rad brain bucket style, all carrying the same brain safety message.
All right, so we know a brain bucket is a helmet. Are helmets important in what you do?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I say in that clip, you know, something my dad said to me when I was a kid, and it really struck me because I was doing chores and doing things to earn money. I was 13 or 14 years old to go out and race my dirt bike. And of course, I wanted to buy a cheap helmet. I wanted to buy everything I could as cheap as I could. But you know, my dad's like, it's your brain, dude. You want to wear something that's going to keep you safe. That statement came up. You have a $10 head, then buy a $10 helmet. And that's an old Bell Helmets ad slogan. So of course I ended up buying a much more expensive helmet than $10. Man, I've had a ton of concussions racing dirt bikes and skateboarding and snowboarding, and that is part of life. If you're going to go out and do stuff, you just never know when you're going to crash. If you knew when you were going to crash and could protect your head, great, but it's the unexpected times that it happens. That's when you need to have the right stuff up there and all around you, especially in racing cars.
Speaking of unexpected times when bad things might happen.
Yeah, let's go check out this wall over here in reference to that. Ron Zares came up with this saying of ain't care at one point, and it really does have a lot to do with racing and racing cars, especially in rally. The idea of to strive to win at any cost with zero mechanical sympathy or regard for one's well-being. It's a mentality in racing that you get in the car, you strap the helmet on, you're in a very safe environment, and you're going to try and win or do the best that you can. And if a wheel gets ripped off in rally, you just keep going and you compensate for whatever happens. And you ask, why does that tie into brain safety? Well, it's because when your mind is in that sort of state, you're not so concerned about the crash. You're concerned about winning, and you're concerned about trying to get to the end and do the best that you can. And when crashes happen, they are completely unexpected. And you have to trust at that moment, or any of those moments, that the safety equipment that's around you is the absolute best and safest possible. One of the worst crashes in my career was the final race in Rally America. I was battling for the championship title. It was myself and David Higgins, and whoever won that last race in Michigan won the championship. And it was the second day of racing, a couple stages into the day. David was ahead by a slight bit, which meant we were both driving flat out. And I went into a corner that I remember very specifically was a right 5-, which means if visually it looks like it's going to be a little bit tight, you brake a little bit, but if not, you need to be flat out through this corner. I went slightly wide, not really that wide in the corner. There was a little bit of weeds on the outside. I thought nothing of it. And all of a sudden, I was airborne and rolling down the stage, and there just happened to be in those weeds a small little gully and a little bump of dirt. Never noticed in the 2 passives of recce, and I thought the corner was totally safe. At that moment, tumbling down that stage, all of our safety equipment worked, from the cage to the fire suits we were wearing, but especially the helmets. And believe me, that moment was not something I planned. I was driving flat out to try and finish the rally and win the championship. But luckily for me and for Alex, our equipment was at the right spec, and we were able to walk away from that crash with very, very minor injuries. All right, well, let's go out in the shop. And we have 2 of the cars here from Gymkhana TEN, and we have all the helmets. So we can go through all that stuff with visuals instead of just me talking. You know, we see a lot of people in race cars without helmets on. People think, oh, well, you're surrounded by this race car and all this safety equipment like cages. But the problem is this is actually a more dangerous environment than a passenger car, because if you were to get thrown out of your seat or jerked, you know, harder than you're expecting, you hit one of these things like this cage here with your head without a helmet on, serious brain injury can come from that. Point is, wear a helmet whenever possible. And in UTVs also. So over here we finally have a sticker that we made commemorating the brain bucket design that Despre made for us.
I'm DSC and I don't like being interviewed.
You know, along with the brain bucket name, little slogan here, brains matter, wear a helmet, and my name along with Despre's logo. Despre had some art where he actually put a brain design on a helmet. When we started working with him, I saw like all his stuff that he'd done in the past, and I saw that design, I was like, holy crap, you actually made a visual of what I've been calling my helmet since I was a kid. That's awesome. So let's make some helmets out of that. And then as we were going through all the creative process for Gymkhana 10, we said, well, let's make a different helmet for each car to commemorate the style of car or the era that it came from. Despre decided to paint each helmet in a slightly different way, but all in a package of the same style. A lot of that art inspiration and creativity is fun to tell the stories of what we do, and even in this case, brain safety. So I've always enjoyed the term brain bucket because it's just kind of a funny, sarcastic, but very real a slang term for a helmet. You know, we painted brains on them, they're pink. When you watch Gymkhana 10, I'm wearing a pink helmet, but we wanted that to stand out and be unique and look different and catch your attention because brain safety is very important. There are certain times in our lives that we get on a bike or a skateboard and don't worry about it as much. Being in a race car and doing things like this, we have to take very seriously. So these are the helmets. These are the 5 helmets that coincide each part of Gymkhana 10 with each different car and each different location. And let's go through these and talk about them. The first helmet that we have sitting here is from the Unicorn. The Unicorn right now is twin turbo being fed by methanol. Methanol is a very dangerous material. When I run that car with that fuel all day and breathe it in, I get terrible headaches. It really does suck. But I love the power. So this helmet is actually from drag racing, and it's got filters on it and a long skirt to try and keep more fresh air in and around the helmet, so that you can actually breathe a little bit better. It's better for safety because methanol, when it catches on fire, is a clear flame. You cannot see it. So you can be on fire and nobody else would know about it. So this helmet was specific to help me be able to breathe better, to be able to be safer because of the methanol, and be able to get that segment done as best as possible without very many headaches. So there's a very beautiful design that Despre did on this one. It is definitely a soft, round representation of a brain. It's kind of cute and pretty on a very mean-looking helmet. All right, the next helmet here is from the Kazi. So the Kazi being a 90s WRC car, we wanted to represent that era of rallying with the helmet. Once again, another variation of the brain bucket design, the brain design by Despre. By the way, I love that the GoPro mounts are still on a bunch of these helmets. The next helmet with an even different design of the brain bucket. This was for the Focus. So this is the current style of the full face type helmet that we use racing in rallycross. So this is the Stilo, as you can see, very beautiful carbon fiber weave there. So nice that Despre left that beautiful carbon in there, then fades to black, and then to the pink of the brain. So yeah, I really like this helmet. That segment in Mexico was really fun. Driven that the most that year, so that felt really comfortable to be down there in Mexico driving that car. So a lot of fond memories putting that helmet on and playing down in Guanajuato, Mexico. So the next helmet is this very nice Troy Lee open face helmet. See the nice Troy Lee logo there? So this is one of his retro old motorcycle helmets. Really, you can see so much of a difference with the padding from years ago to the modern spec that they have from the WRC. Such a big difference between, you know, the old design of what they thought was safety to what's proven today is what's the most modern way to keep your brain safe. So I really like this helmet. You know, this was used in that vehicle right there, the Huna truck. Obviously the safety of this helmet, I wouldn't go out and race in this thing, but to do what I was doing at the, you know, the moderate speeds that we were in that truck, this helmet was safe enough. Enjoy this helmet though. The whole design of it, the simplicity of it, nice old school style visor, but with some, you know, modern twists of design by Troy Lee. Really is a beautiful little helmet. Look at that giant 43. You can tell Desprez really had a lot of fun making this one. And the final helmet that we have here is a modern day WRC helmet. So this was used in Sweden in the Ford Fiesta WRC car. Beautiful carbon fiber Stilo helmet. You know, as that is the modern helmet for like circuit racing, such as World RX, World Rallycross. This is the modern helmet for stage rally. So this is what most of the drivers actually use in the WRC currently. Desprez did an amazing job integrating the 43 up here. Big brain bucket across the back. Really was a beautiful helmet. Really enjoyed wearing this in Sweden.
What was your favorite helmet out of all these? If you had to pick one.
Ooh, my favorite helmet of all these.
Not favorite car, favorite helmet.
You know what? I'm so used to this one and this one. I wore them for so many years. They're such modern design. I really enjoy this helmet for its simplicity. This helmet really clicks my mind back to what I loved about rally in the 90s, you know, which is why I have the Kazi. But this helmet, as obscure as it is my favorite of these five, only because it's just so unusual to me. I've never drag raced, and needing a helmet like this with a tether like this is just so foreign to me, but the shape of it looks so crazy. And I think that, you know, Desprez's art on this particular one's amazing, but it's such a juxtaposition of this brain design with just this sort of mean Darth Vader look. It's just incredible. That is my favorite helmet of this group.
And he wore it in the Unicorn, which I think Ken likes a good amount. We also enjoy it too.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very lucky that I've gotten to build, design, be a part of some of the coolest builds the last couple of years, and the Unicorn and driving it in Gymkhana TEN is just one of my favorite things I've ever been able to do. So, and that helmet represents it. Hoonigan made this rad helmet bag from Desprez's graphic. Super sick. So, I mean, you can put anything in these. It's especially good for helmets. Voila!
What's it say on it? Brain bucket. Nice. That was really cool.
Yeah. So get yours at hoonigan.com. If you look at this truck, pattern that's on this truck is something that Desprez came up with for us. And we used this in 2017 on the World Rallycross cars. Yeah.
It looked a little different.
Yeah.
But it was on that car. That was
2018 graphic.
That was
another variation of this graphic. So this graphic first came out with this pattern, but with the 3D lines around the graphic. Gymkhana TEN was a 2-year project, so we worked with Desprez for a second year going into 2018. So we just took that pattern and modified it in 5 different ways for each of the 5 cars. All of the graphics then are all basically visually the same, but have their own twist for each vehicle. And for the Huna truck, I wanted something very simple and very tough. So it's this very dark gray on a flat black. That was the look that we wanted for this vehicle because we wanted it to be simple and tough.
No, it's cool to see that. So we actually have other art in the front and more desk spray stuff all around that he's done, little inspiration pieces.
Actually, I want to show that off. Cut to that. I mentioned the 5 liveries from Gymkhana 10, and here they all are on Xboxes. This is actually something that Xbox just made for us, but it's a perfect visual example of, you know, there's the Kazi, there's the WRC Fiesta, that's the Huna truck, that's the Focus, that's the Huna Corn. But that's right, it's super rad. He hand painted this Focus hood for us. That's with the 2017 graphics, and made that gas can. There's also a little mini fire extinguisher up here. And then over in the corner there is a piece that he made for us, you know, like the F1 display when they make that to hold out and to show off, you know, the gaps, that sort of thing for timing for the drivers.
Pitboard.
Yeah, super rad that he's made that stuff. Anyway.
Hopefully you guys appreciate that this guy loves his artwork. It's cool to see it on race cars.
I like art. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed the little tour and stories today. But, you know, remember, safety gear and talent is more important than horsepower and big builds. Get those things figured out first, and then build big crazy stuff and go have fun. But keep it safe. Brain buckets.